Hi there, Nat. Would you like to introduce yourself to the Yemzi audience?
Hi, Yemi. I'm Natalie Hughes, the owner of Pinkpepper Swimwear, which is a sustainable clothing brand. I hope you're good too.
Yeah, we're good over here. That's amazing. So Pinkpepper Swimwear.
Yes.
Where did the name come from? This is something I've been meaning to ask you for a while. Because I always think of pig when I hear pink pepper. So tell me what that's about.
It's just one of those things. Honestly, it was the name of a kitten I had. Her name was Pepper. And at the time I was thinking, I had just started the brand and it just came together. Just that way. It was kind of like Pinkpepper Swimwear. This is how we're going to do it. That was the name that I had chosen. And yeah, ever since then, it's just stuck.
I like the alliteration. It's very catchy.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things. I thought, what will go with this? What will be catchy? What will people remember? So that was the name that I chose for my brand.
And why did you pick swimwear? Because I think we met like maybe 10 years ago and you had a boutique in Southampton. So you've always had this interest in fashion and selling fashion. And now 10 years later, you've got a swimwear line. So how did that transition happen? And how did you get into fashion to begin with?
Yeah, oh my God, I can't believe it's been 10 years already.
I know.
Wow. Yeah. But that's crazy. But I've always loved kind of fashions. I've always wanted to have a brand of my own. Having the boutique was great, but I found it quite stressful to be in that kind of retail environment. There was so much I had to learn, and having the shop
business, the boutique, was that the beginning of your fashion career?
That was the beginning of my fashion career. That's where I really wanted to start. But at the time I was selling other brands. It wasn't my own brands. So
baby fat in there. That was like,
no. Yeah, it was all the what I chose was all brands of celebrities. So I tried to pick brands that celebrities owned at the time that weren't available in the UK. I decided to bring them over and try something a little bit different that way.
And was it a success?
It was a success initially. Unfortunately, that was the time we had the recession, so everything just kind of fell apart at the time, and I knew it was time to just kind of stop and rethink what my next step would be in fashion.
Yeah, I mean, that's so cool, like just bringing brands from America and all these brands that we see in music videos, because back then, obviously this is before social media. So I remember my friend Stacey, she was like, there's a shop in Southampton that sells like baby fat and Rockaway.
And the apple bottom jeans.
I got my first pair and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I need these. They're going to make my bum look so cute.
Yeah.
For that, I remember coming in, I went ham. I was just like, I need to shop in this place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, ratings for that.
Oh, thank you. No, it was great. I remember we met on an audition for I was doing a fashion show.
Yes, it was over 18 years ago because I was too young to come to the club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, oh no. But you were fantastic. I remember meeting and thinking, I need to see this lady again one day, please.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. And it worked out. Cool friends.
Yeah, it did. Now we're like friends, friends forever type of thing. And it's amazing.
So how did you get word out? Because of course, like I was saying, there was no social media. So how did my friend know about, for people that don't know, I was in Bournemouth at this point and your store was in Southampton, the shopping centre. So how are you getting word out about your international goods that you're selling in your boutique?
I think at the time we had advertised in, I think it was the Bournemouth Post and Southampton Post as well. And
okay.
We had this was the beginning of Facebook at the time. And we had a Facebook page and I just went crazy telling everyone about it. I was constantly talking about it on Facebook and just saying, look, this is this is our store. People were just really interested in it because there was a really big hip hop culture at the time. And I think a lot of the girls especially wanted to feel on trend, and the guys as well. They wanted the jeans, the rockaway jeans, and the, you know, the tops, the hoodies types of things. So
Were you
I
selling
think,
men's as well?
yeah, I had men's as well. So
Okay.
just the small like capsule collection, and it just, the men's sold really, really well at the time. So that was my way of marketing. It was mainly through, it was word of mouth, and Facebook at the time was really helpful. Definitely.
And how did you know like where to buy product? Because now you can just type like a Google search and you'll find, you know, buy this from here and or whatever. But like back then, how did you find where to source your products from?
Initially I took a trip to New York. My sister
Oh my
lives there.
God, wow.
And I just went with an empty suitcase and just thought, I'm going to bring back everything. I just went crazy over there and just bought
Buying trip.
everything I possibly, I just went on a buying trip, bought everything, and thought, this is the stock we're going to start with. And then eventually I found a supplier here in the UK.
Okay.
They were in London, so they used to get all the new sort of clothes from, I think it was Rockaway, Apple Bottoms, Acon's brand. I can't quite remember the name of his brand. I think it was Convict or something.
Yeah.
And they used to get all their new apparel in all the time. So I just started buying from them because it just made my life easier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it started.
And how did you make it all the way over to creating your own swimwear label?
Well, I went on a trip to Croatia. This was one of my first solo trips, and I went to Croatia. This is a bit of a funny story. I was on an island and my bikini bottoms kept being stolen.
Oh.
Yeah, which was a bit strange.
Okay, and how were they stolen? Like, were they left in the line, or?
I was, you just you wear your bikini for the day, wash it, and hang it out. I had my own little sort of tent, and we were stuck on the island for 5 days. So you couldn't leave, but there was everything. There were facilities there, washing machine, everything. You could live on this island, right? But it was a kind of like an eco retreat type of festival.
Okay.
So anyway, my bottoms went missing every time. So I kept asking around, is there a shop where I can buy a bikini, all this lot? And they said no, the company that was supposed to come didn't come. And in my head I kept thinking, gosh, I'm just going to create my own brand one day. And that's just how I started. I thought, when I get back home, first of all, I want bikinis that fit me a certain way. I want bikinis that look a certain way. So as soon as I got home, that was the one thing that was stuck in my head. And I thought, I'm definitely going to go for this and just do it. So
it sounds like
my mind was set.
You know that festival where people have to like come with product and then you exchange it?
Yeah.
My festival.
I haven't been to one like that yet.
Yeah, or is it Burning Man I'm thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking, no, I think the fire is the one that FYRE. I think that was the one that had the Netflix series that actually was a big failure. But I think I'm thinking
the Fire Festival. That was, thank goodness it wasn't Fire Festival. Thank God for that. This one was. This one worked.
It is worse.
I said this one actually worked. It was a good festival. It was something I'll definitely do again.
Okay. So I guess you kind of used that were stolen as prototypes. Obviously, you knew that they were really hot products, so you kind of modeled your own designs on the ones that were taken. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I find bikinis. I'm a mom, and I had an emergency cesarean section, so my scar is not very straight.
Okay.
it's not very neat. It's kind of, it was a quick procedure. My scar isn't very neat. So I've always kind of wanted to kind of conceal it, but not necessarily, hide it. I'm not ashamed of it.
Mm.
I always thought, why do my bikinis sit a certain way? So that was another thing that made me want to create my own brand. It's, there were a lot of moms saying, oh, I want mine high waist, or I want this type of style, but I still want to look sort of, I guess, sexy on the beach, without having to wear these, bikinis that kind of overcover your body. Some people love to show their bodies off, but there's certain flaws that maybe they'd like to cover. And the scar was one of those things that I definitely found was something I wanted to look into. So I've created a brand that's for mamas as well, but also just women who feel confident in their bodies. Even with your flaws, I want you to feel as if, you're still this sexy, beautiful woman, and you can wear whatever you want, really.
Mm. So do you have styles
Uh-huh.
that cater to cover up and also kind of like more kind of flimsy string bikinis? You've got like a wide range.
Yes. Yeah, we have the very flimsy bikinis, the ones where you're hardly covered up. I think that's quite beautiful as well. The women who are confident enough to wear those, and then there are those who want to be a bit more covered up. I think a woman's body is like a bit of a work of art, and I feel like the more you show of it, the more beautiful it is.
Mm.
Well, for me anyway. But some people obviously want to be a bit more covered up. But I want women to feel confident when they do wear our brand. And obviously we use sustainable lycra as well. So it's something to kind of say, look, I'm an eco warrior and I'm still beautiful, kind of thing.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that because I'm really a big fan of supporting sustainable brands. What kind of made you decide that you were going to be sustainable? Was it a personal experience or just your lifestyle in general?
It went back to this festival I went to as well. I went specifically because it was sort of an eco-sustainable festival. It was a yoga festival as well, and I was just getting into kind of that holistic kind of living and trying to change my lifestyle a little bit personally, just to be more aware of what I do buy and what kind of consumer I am. I used to be a shopaholic, like terrible. I'd buy everything from anywhere. And there was a point where I just thought, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I guess it all started there because it was very, everything was so minimalist, but it was beautiful at the same time. And it just felt as if I found my feet in kind of sustainability. It was very intimidating in the beginning. A lot of people who started the whole, we need to think more sustainably can be seen as quite extreme at times. They want you to change everything. But I decided to choose something that I felt comfortable changing, which was my shopping habits and what I wore as well. So I'm choosing a lot more sort of ethical brands. I'm looking into that. Obviously, creating a brand that is going towards being fully ethical and sustainable as well. It just makes you think a bit more about your impact on the environment with just the little things you do. As something as simple as shopping, you don't realize, or the products that you do buy when you shop, that when you look into it, there's just so much to do to fix the environment at the moment. So I definitely want to be part of that revolution.
Definitely. So I'm going to ask as well, like how has the COVID situation affected your business, and do you feel like it's going to affect it moving forward in terms of how you do business?
I think it's going to impact my business in a positive way. Okay. Because whether we like it or not, we're going to move into a more sustainable life now.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot is going to change. There'll be less. There'll be less available to us, and you have to choose carefully. Everything's changing at the moment with this whole COVID situation. I mean, I was supposed to relaunch my brand actually because we're adding a few more lines to it. It's not just going to be swimwear. We're adding clothing as well. So everything is kind of on hold. But in the same token, I'm thinking where we're mostly online, that's one thing that's good. I think a lot of businesses are going to have to cope with being mostly online now. And already being in that position is a win. And I think people will start thinking a bit more about how they shop, because we'll have to be a bit more savvy with our money. You know, the economy is going to take a big hit. So you have to think about whether you want to shop just for the sake of shopping, or you want to shop and buy something that will last you a long time and has a positive impact on the environment. So I just think for me, I feel like it's going to come out as a positive. I can't predict the future or anything, but I really hope more companies look into becoming sustainable and trying to do better for the planet. Because as we can see already, you know, the weather's changed because we're not traveling as much. There are not as many people, you know, out there with pollution and just little things like that. So I think it's going to be a positive thing in the long run.
Yes.
For everyone. Yeah.
And what is sustainability and ethical to you? Because often it's hard to define. So some brands will say, okay, it's the materials we use, it's having a low carbon footprint, it's using local artisans and seamstresses, and you know, there's different categories. So for Pinkpepper, what ticks are you putting, you know, against the sustainable categories?
For us, it's the fabrics that we use. Start with everything that every type of collection that we have has we only use sustainable fabrics. Also, when it comes to production, we're not fast fashion, we're very slow fashion. I decided to only use Southampton-based tailors and manufacturers. So, you know, this is what I decided to do, was use postgraduate students to start with, because I knew some that were saying they hadn't found their jobs yet. They wanted to create a portfolio, and I was very lucky to meet one who worked with me to actually start Pinkpepper. So, and we're still going to work together in the long run. She's more than happy to work with me throughout, as long as she can. And it's also a way of kind of her building her portfolio to say, look, I've done this is my work, you know. So that's another thing. I try to use local manufacturers, as well as making sure that if we do go into maybe slightly larger production, I've done my research on where we will be producing, what countries do work on a sustainable level. So for me, that's the main thing for now, and low carbon footprint. If I can keep everything within the UK, then I'll be more than happy to go that way.
And is the sustainable fabric sustainable because it's biodegradable?
They're biodegradable. Most of them are made out of recycled fabrics anyway. So you can take an old t-shirt and they recycle it, and they mix it with perhaps another new technology they've got, especially with the lycra. There's so much new technology coming out with the lycra, as well as the fabric we're using for the clothing. It's mind-blowing what we've done. So it's
the fabric be made of clothes?
Some of them are made out of wood pulp, recycled wood pulp.
Nice.
Some are made out of recycled organic cotton. And the lycra is recycled, discarded fishnet. So it's a lot to do with clearing up the sea and making sure that our oceans are back to what they used to be, because we know there's a lot of plastic pollution in there as well. So it's
Yeah.
it's going to take a long time to get to a point where it's all clear. But if you can make fashion out of something like that, then I think that's quite powerful.
Yeah, I've been looking into that fabric. It's called a conlil. So they're taking,
Yes.
yeah, it's amazing because, you know, sometimes when you tell someone this is made from waste, they're like, oh, really? It doesn't feel like it. And, you know, that's the idea, that you don't want to have a difference in quality just because it's regenerated. That doesn't have to be the case. You know, it's just as,
Yeah.
in appearance, it's just as good as what you'd find from any great fabric store, but it's just recycled. So it's amazing, actually.
It's
That's
absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see what you come up with, because your brand is kind of going that way as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when I started after graduation in 2014, I said I'm not going to create a brand just for the sake of it, because there is just so much fashion, and there's companies that are able to, you know, start with a much bigger budget, which means that their production is cheaper, and, you know, they can employ, you know, 10 staff members from the beginning. So it's just, they can offer something that I couldn't. So being on a budget, I was just thinking, okay, how can I have um, as many USPs as possible? And one of them was obviously my own point of view of mixing being British and Nigerian, having that perspective, a really personal perspective, because I think big brands like H&M and Topshop, they don't really have an identity. You're not really connecting to, you know, you're definitely connecting to a person.
Yeah.
So that was one advantage. And then I just thought it has to be sustainable, because, you know, what's the point in bringing out more fashion if it's going to just contribute to this, you know, mass shopping kind of movement.
Yeah.
I haven't been that kind of person in many years. When I was young, when I was a teenager, I was the same as anyone. I was shopping every weekend for a new outfit to go to the club, or, you know, even for pictures back then. That's the person I was. But in my 20s, I was just like, you know what, I'm not into doing shopping, disposable fashion. And started working at a shop called Designer Jumble in Stratford, Westfield. And for the first time, I'd come across like vintage designer, like Prada, Fendi, Vuitton, just loads of designer garments. And I would see how they're constructed. And, you know, being vintage, some of these pieces are, you know, 20, 30 years old, and they still look cool. Whereas, you know, a dress that I had bought from Miss Selfridge a year ago, it's dated so easily, and the quality of it after you've washed it a few times is just not the same. So I was inspired by designer clothing. So I just knew that I really wanted to have a brand that had quality as well. So yeah, I've always been sustainable from the beginning, and as I plan, it has to stay that way, because I still feel really strongly about those ethoses. So yeah.
No, I love it. Absolutely love it. I think we need more brands like that. You know, with the way the world is now, we just something's got to change.
It has to change. I think you're right that there's going to be a lot less fast fashion, and sustainable brands will rise because people are waking up. Like, we've been presented with the idea of like raising is it sea levels and all this stuff, but we haven't taken major action. But when something like this happens, like COVID, you just really think like, you know what, something has to give, and there are alternatives that we have to embrace. Even with the way we're working, like working from home, you know, imagine, you know, petrol isn't burnt driving to work, and, you know, how much, just so much energy is being saved by people just staying at home a bit. I'm not saying that everyone should stay at home all the time, but it just shows that maybe someone who works 5 days a week, maybe realistically they can do 2 days from home. They don't have to come in to be in an office or whatever. So alternative ways of working, which I think are going to come to be normal now. And I remember on LinkedIn actually a few weeks ago, actually not a few weeks, probably a few months ago now, that there was this woman she became a mum, and she wasn't able to find a job that fitted with picking up her daughter from school. But at this time, she was working in a corporate company. Like, they weren't happy for her to work from home. It was like you know, you have to be here or you're not the right kind of candidate. But now I think, you know, if she was presented with that situation after this all kind of, you know, when people are going back to work, I think companies would be more open to people working from home a bit. So Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a tragic situation because obviously, you know, hundreds of thousands of people have died. Is that
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of thousands? I'm thinking like in the UK, yeah, it's been like 10,000, 12, no, 15,000 UK alone last time I checked. So yeah, you know, so many people are dying. So it is a tragic situation, but it's kind of made us hit reset a bit, which I think is a positive outcome from
Exactly.
this.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. It's it's got its negatives, but there's also going to be a huge positive in, I think, also people's well-being, because to be honest, some people were maybe thinking of leaving that job that perhaps they're not enjoying so much, and maybe trying to find a way to just have a break to say, I need to get, I want to work from home, but how do I do it? You know,
Mhm.
and perhaps it's presented them that opportunity now to say, okay, I'm not going back. I want to work from home. I want more time with my family. I want more time with, just to work on something that I'm really passionate about. And maybe this is a turning point for a lot of people, you know, to say, I don't want to go back to that environment, you know,
Definitely.
because sometimes people do speak about having a negative work environment. It can affect your mental health. It can be stressful. It can be all sorts of things. But I think this has made everybody just slow down and rethink their priorities. And if you choose to work from home, I think this is an opportunity to kind of say, okay, you can choose your life now after this.
Yeah,
Mm.
completely.
Mm.
So on a more positive note,
Mm.
let's
We got all serious there, didn't we?
yeah. But on a positive note, thinking about pink pepper, where would be
Mm.
your dream location to wear your pink pepper swim set?
Oh, that's such an unfair question. Oh my God.
Like 10
Um,
locations, right?
oof, perfect destination for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I choose two?
You can.
Right?
You can.
I'll go for Santorini.
Okay. I'm sure you've been there, right? You've been there a few times.
Yes, it's one of my favorite destinations. I think I'm going to make an annual trip there.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a more eco-friendly traveler, um, seeing as we're trying to fix the world here,
Yes.
um, and definitely the Amalfi Coast in Italy.
Okay. I don't think
I
I.
just love to just go there and have an Italian summer.
Mm.
That would be perfect with my little swimwear, and I think it will be probably quite romantic and quite relaxed. That's my idea of kind of wearing the bikini and feeling very relaxed.
Mm.
No care in the world.
Yes. I love that.
Mm.
And do you have like a celebrity or someone that you'd really like to see in one of your bikini sets?
Have I even thought about that? Chew. That's a good question. I'd love to see Beyonce in my bikinis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Absolutely would love to see her in one of my sets. She would look gorgeous. Um,
happen. That will happen.
we have to make it happen, right?
Yes, yeah.
I can see it. She looks stunning. So I think she loves her body, and she just loves, you know, her curves and everything. So I think she would embrace the concept that we have, that your body is your body no matter what it's like, and you know, embrace it.
Definitely. Right.
Mm.
And to round up, we like to ask our Yemzi girls their favorite quote. So it could be something inspiring or just a quote that someone's told you that you like the sound of, or we've even had poems before. So yeah, give us
Oh,
a quote.
my favorite quote is something I spoke about with my sister. She's the one who kind of said it to me. Well, we're talking, and I said, we always look at other people's lives and think, oh, I wish I could have this and I wish I could have their life. But we ended it by saying life is personal.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy it as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that you embrace every moment that you have, because that's the beauty of life. You know, you it's personal to you. It's like a little personal package that the universe has given you. So treat it as such. That's the most beautiful thing that you can have, is your life. So life is personal, but make it beautiful.
I think that's a really beautiful quote and a nice way to end the interview. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much, Yemzi.
You're welcome. Do you want to just shout out your website and social media so everyone can follow?
So our website is pinkpepperswimwear.com. You'll find all our products on there, and our Instagram page is Pinkpepper Swimwear, as well as our Facebook page. So please follow us there, and I hope to see some of you in those bikinis, enjoying summer, living your best lives.
Yes. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you so much.